Sabah Salam. It's the day the Most High has made, and we give him all worship and praise. Thanks for tuning in. I pray that you're doing well. Last week, we had to rush off so that we could survive 50 tornadoes. And obviously, we survived. It was a brief show. It'll be brief today, too. And of course, not a lesson for you need that no one teach you, for you have the Ruach HaKadosh. And you really have to forcibly chase off the Ruach from being inside of you that the Most High has given to you. If you've been obedient in keeping his Shabbats and his high Moedim holy days and being obedient in these last days. So we just come to encourage and exhort one another to endure until the end. Weather modification is ramping up. We have cold front that's coming in. Looks like it's going to be a long winter, and we know that these are devices that people are utilizing to bring detriment to the Most High's people, which is why he said, if I don't shorten these days, no flesh shall be saved, meaning the salvation that's coming in the name of Yahusha, there'll be no one alive to see it or witness it. I pray that you are, some of you homesteaders or backyard homesteaders, wherever you're doing this, that you're taking into your own hands your survival and not depending on man or this world, because the food has become contaminated and tainted. You should be learning how to make your own bread. You should be growing your vegetables and fruit as much as possible. If you could do something about your meat, maybe as much as possible, or maybe cut back on the meat eating, period, for your health, and find a way to try to filter your water, filter your air in your home, and filter all of your intake, and be watchful and be spiritual. That's me trying to exhort you and encourage you to endure until the end. You have to put in the work. You can no longer be lazy, cavalier, haphazardly approaching the life that we have in this particular life at this particular time, because everything has changed. This is not your grandmother's time, your great grandmother's time. And we're waking up to all of they're abusing that word awake and woke, but it was in the Bible and it pertained to Shirah, that we would become aware of the sealed portions of the book, the hidden portions of the book, and understand what truly happened and what we were steeped deep into, which was the religion of other nations that they forced upon us to take us and drive us away from our Yah, our true Elohim. And now we're coming back to the understanding. We're not entering into a religion, we're entering into our culture. And that's what our job should be, is to restore the cultural identity of the original Yasharah, one asleep mind at a time, and come back to wholesomeness, wholeness, righteousness, Kodesh, being set apart and leaving this world. I'm not going to be before you long, as I mentioned. Let's go to Genesis, the 11th chapter, and look at some parallels. We are definitely living in the Amos 8 times, where the Most High talked about how the people would not want to keep Shabbat, not keep it appropriately, sitting around Shabbat waiting for it to hurry up and end so they can go back out into the world and spend and live their lives. That's not keeping Shabbat. If these commandments become grievous to you, you're not living a life of abundance and loving the beauty of being Yasharah. This you should look forward to with joy and patience. But Amos, the 8th chapter, brought out how there's going to be a time where there will be a famine for the word. And this is the reason why people approach the Shabbat like it's a chore. And they keep looking at the clock saying, when will it be over so I can cook, so I can heat up something, so I can go to the mall, so we can go to the movies, so we can get the kids out the house, so we can do et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're not keeping Shabbat. Shabbat is rest, complete rest. And rest means calm your mind, calm your fears, your attitude, And economically, it had a task too. It was Yasharal coming out the world, not participating in the world system economically and pouring into it with what the Most High has blessed you with. It was a time to pull back completely as a nation, as a people, so that it would be a sign between us and Him. Rest means no fear, no anxiety. So that means you don't want to watch news forecasts that are lying to you and keeping you in a state of anxiety and subconscious communications coming at you. You're not resting. It's a time to get into the word and think about the promises of Yah, as we see in Amos, the 9th chapter. I'm just talking about Amos today. It's all over the books of the Most High, the holy books, especially the book of Esdras and the book of Zephaniah and the book of Zechariah, the book of Psalms. Just so many of our precious books that even though they tried to taint, the Ruach has the ability for us to glean between the words and the verses and scriptures and get the truth and look past the transliteration and the false language words that they put in there to try and change the Hebrew language and words and its true essence. But nonetheless, Amos, the 8th chapter, emphasized that because when you look at the end of that chapter, it tells you how people would be in the last days because of what he's bringing upon them, because of a loss of focus, a complete loss of focus. And it's easy to have this loss of focus now because of the attention spans are short. This is why they came up with YouTube shorts. Because nobody has attention span to watch something for 30 minutes to an hour. Everything's moving so fast, so quick. Lights are blinking in your face. And you know that one of the worst things you could do, I heard the other day, is let your kid be on the cell phone in front of the TV all day, on an iPad or laptop, because there's blinking blue lights and red lights, sequences of lights. This is when I don't know if you remember when the kids had those seizures watching certain cartoons from Japan because of the flickering and blinking of the lights. And what it's doing is it's assisting the autism in children and causing them to have a short attention span and not being able to gravitate to learning. And so it's in children, it's in kids, it's in adults. It's a product of the vaccination schedule. It's a product of the dumbing down of education and information and nobody reading anymore. So we're seeing what was prophesied in the 8th chapter being a result of the environment that we're in, which has dumbed down also our spirituality. We don't even understand the essence of spirituality because we look through the lenses of religion to understand spirituality, and that's the furthest thing from what is really going on. It's so far from the truth. So we have this short attention span causing us not to be able to enjoy the Shabbat, can't find a word. All we have is gossip teachers and preachers who are fighting amongst themselves and no one agreeing on the concepts and prophecies of the Bible. So we're caught up in a whirlwind of confusion, and Yah is not the author of confusion. So the 8th chapter is very significant when we see that. And so that leads me into what I want to talk about today is that when Yah comes down. Now, I know a lot of people think that means a lot of things. As we know we're waiting for him to send our Messiah back and send him down. But there was a song back in the 80s. Yeah, 80s. It was, what if God was one of us, just a stranger on the bus, meaning that he's here walking around and you don't even recognize him, that he's present because he's coming down to gauge the climate. What if he sends angels? We already know, we've talked about the fact that we can entertain angels unaware and they can take on bodily flesh. But what we're getting into today with Genesis, the 11th chapter, and that's all I'm going to do today, is the fact that he came down. The Most High came down to the earth. And this is so indicative of what's happening in the earth today through technocracy, technology, AI. Nations are coming together with one joint effort and task, which is globalism, world governance, and a world religion where everyone wants to understand each other and can now. And the language creator that helps people to translate different languages, they even had the nerve to name that app Babel, which is what we're going to read in Genesis, the 11th chapter. You have a world that's aiming towards one world religion, a language which is more along the lines of ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. I'm going to shadow ban the crap out of this one. One world governance. And so the people are trying to sync up so that they can be prepared for their one world leader of this Antichrist beast system. One world cryptocurrency, one world blockchain, as Lucifer, Hashatan, is seeking what he said he would do in Isaiah the 14th chapter, to become like the Most High, by hoping to be able to make himself omnipresent, by linking up with you in your home, looking at you through your TV and your phone and your laptop and hearing you, and being able to keep tabs on you wherever you go, and a blockchain to keep tabs on your spending and to be able to track and trace you. So the goal was to try to become what he said he would become with his 5-point plan, which is laid out in Isaiah the 14th chapter. Well, guess what's going to happen right in the midst of all that? Genesis the 11th chapter. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Verse 2. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east. See, there's a cohesiveness taking place. You're being deceived because they're heading towards a tower. They're heading towards Armageddon, but this is only for a power grab. The players are already in place, and the people know who's going to play what role. So they have to unify and bring into play areas and regions for the 10 kings that'll be in power, prophesied in Revelations and in Daniel. This is why they are flirting with you, letting you know that there's somebody coming into office that wants to purchase Canada, defeat Mexico, purchase Greenland, and unify the entire side of that part of the planet. Then you're already looking at players who are playing the role of the second beast, third beast, but I'm not going to go into that. Listen to the key here, and this is all I want to, emphasize this. You'll see this while you're in your time of enduring and not tripping. Now, listen, when we read and begin to understand Bible prophecy, the goal is not to focus on Esau and what he's doing in his technology and creations and inventions, because 2 Ezra 13 tells us that the Messiah is coming back, Yahushua HaMashiach, to lay his foot on Mount Zion and will destroy all wicked inventions with the words of his mouth, which will be him saying the law coming in all righteousness. So we're not tripping on what they've created, because they're not going to complete it, just like they didn't complete Babel. I don't care what picture you're painting for me right now, it will not be completed. How do I know? This right here, because this writing was for our learning, for a future generation to understand how things work. Genesis 11:2, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. Now let's not forget, it was the whole earth after the flood with one language, and they were in one accord, and they knew what had just happened to them. So you got to understand that the remaining people knew that there was a world that was destroyed. This is post-flood, not pre-flood. If you go back to Genesis 10 and 32, the verse right before chapter 11, it says, these are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations in their nations, and by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. And this is where the 70 nations and the pact for the Noahide laws comes in play, because it's based on the 70 nations. These were the children of the sons of Noah and had not been separated into different regions as of yet. So let's continue with Genesis, the 11th chapter, 3rd verse. They had brick for stone and slime had they for mortar. Verse 4, and they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, knowing full well there was a firmament, and that they felt it was possible to reach the top of that firmament in the same way SpaceX is shooting rockets at the firmament, hoping to shatter the firmament. And then you have Elon Musk, who openly said in an interview, there's a thick realm up there, and when it strikes, there's water. And he confessed that nobody's been outside of that, and we can't get to that other side. Search the internet, you might be able to find it. Man already knows this. Everybody knows what happened with the so-called moon landing. They know the truth. I'm not going to go into that today. I don't have to tell you how Satan is the father of lies, and he has a group of people that are his children down here that do nothing but lie. So this has been a task of the various different nations forever to try and get past that firmament into what they think is the universe, the other planets, another realm. You best believe it is. It's the heaven where the throne of Yah is, with 7 different heavens and then 3 external ones on top of the 7, as spoken of in the vision of Abraham, the vision of Isaiah, the ascension of Isaiah, and the ascension of Peter as well. If you read in the pseudepigrapha books that they've tried to hide from you, and the book of Enoch, especially 2nd Enoch, it goes into the various realms and divisions of heaven. If you go back to the beginning of Genesis, you realize that the firmament was created to separate the waters from the waters, a hard shell to keep in containment the Most High's creation and those that he sent down, the fallen ones, who were created on the first day of creation. But there was a war in heaven, as spoken of, on the 2nd day, and Lucifer and a third of the angels were cast down here and imprisoned down here. The furthest they can go is in the first heaven to try to hear what's happening beyond the realm of the firmament, where there's water on top of the dome. Said a whole lot there, didn't I? Okay. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower. This tower is symbolic to communication, to trying to go beyond the Most High, to trying to go into a different dimension. This is what you have taken place now, where they're trying to take you into a metaverse, a different dimension. So they figured we do have an out. Our out will be transhumanism. Oh, I'm getting banned today. So what? They figure that's how we'll get out of here. We will be able to capture the soul and go into the other realm, which is why in 2nd Ezra 13, in the Apocrypha, it says in the last days, not only will nation fight against nation, man against man, but it will be realm against realm. We are wrestling against principality and spiritual forces and dimensions. When these locusts are released in the book of Revelations and the bottomless pit is open, other dimensions will be open and they will materialize, these demons, in front of people, because it's said in the last days, men's hearts will fail them for fear of the things that they're going to see upon this earth. There is a judgment coming for non-Yasharalites and non-grafted in ones. There's a judgment coming because you despise my Yah, his laws and his commandments. You're lawless. And you want to have eternal life on your terms, not his terms. And the only way you can have eternal life is Revelations 22 and 14. Revelations 22 and 14. You want to know how to have eternal life? Let me digress a minute, because we'll be down with Genesis in a second. I just want to quote it right. I already know it off the top of my head. It says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have a right to the tree of life and may enter through the gates into the city. Straight through the front door, because you were a commandment keeper in this life and you didn't find it grievous like the people in Amos, the 8th chapter. So you think you're going to get off this universe by going into a spiritual realm and escape and go be with the demons. The demons are in the pits of hell and Sheol, and they know what their end is going to be. They've got the nations deceived into believing they will defeat the Most High when he comes back, and you're not defeating no one. Sorry. He's coming in all glory, power, vesture dipped in blood and coming to whoop some, you know what? It's going down. And so these people are fighting for their survival because they don't want to see extinction as other civilizations have seen extinction. Right before the flood, Egypt, Atlantis, Tartaria. They don't even want you to know the truth about the Grand Canyon, that there was a civilization there. I digress. Civilizations get destroyed by the Most High, as we see in Genesis, the 11th chapter, because the people think that they finally achieved something and they can go beyond the Most High. This is the time we're living in right now, where they think they found the fountain of youth. First, they were using the fluid from deceased babies to give them a false sense of life and longevity. And I'm not going to say the name of that. I won't say that today, but so you have to read between the lines. You know what I'm talking about. But now they figured they know how to do it digitally, trying to ignore the fact that iron and clay don't mix. I'm not going to go into that because some of you took the solution and made the Most High have mercy on you. Verse 5, it said, first, let's go back to 4. And they said, go to let us build us a city and a tower. Hence, all these cities and towers, they feel the stretching up into the heavens and getting closer. I remember one god-awful building that gets on my nerves, which is it's built in the shape of a dildo. I don't know if I can say that today. I said it anyway. And it reaches high in the city of San Francisco, a city I used to live in. And it is the symbol for the cloud. And what's happening, people, is that they are trying to capture people's souls and minds into the cloud, because through W-band, you have become a node on the network. And now they feel like they can access you through your genetic makeup. This is what they did in Genesis 11. May reach unto heaven and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. They say, let's hurry up and do this before we get scattered. The Most High will scatter people of disobedience in a heartbeat. Yasharal is a scattered people now. And the only ones that will be gathered from the scatter are the ones who are keeping the laws and commands and patiently waiting on him. Hence is your protection. I got news for you. If you are a commandment keeper, you're keeping these laws right now. Chances are, if you're being obedient, you are not one of the tares. You're a chosen one, and you're sealed, and you can be protected throughout all these tribulations in this final tribulation that we're entering into. They were trying to hurry up and build the city and the tower before they got scattered. This is hence the reason why you see the mindset of these so-called leaders. They know they don't have much time. They want to see if they can hurry up and achieve this. And at the back and at the top of the pyramid with an all-seeing eye, Satan already knows he's just trying to take as many people with him as he possibly can. That's what his goal is. Verse 5 said, here we go, title of the lesson. And Yahuwah came down to see this city and this tower, which the children of men built. That's that song. People really try to make my God this cloud, this mist that is incapable of doing whatever he wants to, and that he's sovereign. If the angels can transform themselves into anything and come down here, what makes you think the Most High can't? And come see for himself on the inside of the dome what man thinks he has achieved, thinking he has outsmarted God with his science, and got you fearful and worshiping him and worshiping his science and his pharmacology. to the point where a lot of you are going into witchcraft, to the point where a lot of you are going to be deceived, to the point where a lot of you are worshiping your leaders, your presidents, etc., to a point a lot of you will bow down to the beast and the antichrist. You've been deceived. You want more of it, to the point where many are calling themselves Christ, saying they have achieved Christ consciousness and they've opened up the third eye and that they're gods. We're all gods and there is no Christ. Yeah, to that point. So the Most High wants to come down here and see, as he did in Genesis the 11th. So y'all think y'all got it all figured out, huh? So y'all think y'all figured out how to genetically manipulate my people and transform things. Let me come down here and see how far this has gone and how much people believe it. If you remember back before Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, he asked Lot to find one righteous, and then I won't do this, and couldn't find one. The flood came as a result of genetic manipulation and the altering of people's DNA. So the Most High, Yah, came down in the 5th verse. It was Nimrod and them, and Babel was going, they were going off. And he said, Yahuwah came down to see the city and tower, which the children of men built it. Verse 6, and Yahuwah said, behold, the people is one. Kind of like this nationalism and this patriotism. It's like what we just went through for the last 4 years has the whole world in hopes and waiting for a savior. And they think one man's going to come in as they're setting up yin and yang and fix the whole world because he's promising that he will. But first they got to heighten it up. Problem, then solution. Chaos. Order out of chaos. So the Most High in this situation, not ours right now, but potentially ours, that he will come and see just how bad this is. Everybody thinks he's relegated, but if he wants to, he won't reveal himself in this polluted society. But the fact that he could come down as he did here and see for himself is what you need to glean from this story. Christianity has messed you up and got you believing certain things about the way they mistaught and misinterpreted the scripture. No man has seen Yah and lived and they can't be in his presence. He can do whatever he wants to do. And you're seeing it right here. I can't emphasize enough the title of this lesson. And Yahuwah came down to see the city. It means he has eyes. It means he wants to feel it, sense it. This is the possibility, but everybody else will tell you everything else. And that's what will have you constantly thinking that he's such a far off entity, to the point where people are not even, we got scoffers and mockers. People don't even believe he's coming back or that he exists because of the falsehoods of religion. Looking at these so-called pastors and what they represent, they're thieves. Anybody who's asking you for tithes and money for the word or because of the word is a thief and a false prophet. And I mean that. Even a donation or a cash app. Go get yourself a job. Sell some lemonade in front of your house. He recognized that the people were on one accord. They got something that's going on right now, and it started with Charles Love of Beyonce called the Beehive. So what they're trying to do is create a hive mindset, MK Ultra, and manipulate people's thoughts through frequencies. And so if they can go inside of the body and genetically alter and manipulate people, they can put them on the same wavelength by sending out general frequencies. I don't know if you've ever noticed when you go out that you'll find people all in a hurry, or scattered brains, or minds are angry, or road rage, or you'll go out on another day, there may be a calm, there may be a peace, because there's genetic manipulation taking place in the air because of the frequencies, because Satan is the prince and power of the air. And meaning that he can't do nothing without permission from Yah. But right now, the restrainer is being pulled back. There is no ruach in people, and something else is at the helm, at the wheel, controlling people. And so this takes us back to Satan wanting to be omniscient, Isaiah the 14th chapter. And if you can, what's my word? If you can cause all, as the story of Babel, Genesis 11:1, let's go back to the first verse. And the whole earth was of one language and one speech. See, the only thing they got you tripping, still waiting on the mark of the beast, you're tripping, waiting on the mark of the beast. What's happening now is assimilation. That's my word. We've gone through a process of activation and assimilation. So the assimilation has been taking place because of what people volunteered to do to themselves and their bodies, because of fear that they had for something that they could not see, because Esau told them this is what's happening and took away their means. So they rolled up their sleeves. Assimilation has taken place. Prophecy of iron and clay, it has taken place. And through time, there's a thing called assimilation and sequencing. So how do you achieve hive mind? I put you all on the assimilated same sequence frequency. It's just like everybody listening to the same beat in a club, and you see all the heads bopping to the same beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some may be on a 1 and the 3, some may be on the 2 and the 4, but they're all moving to the same beat. Assimilation. Nobody gonna be putting no big old hunk of something in your brain or in your hand and forehead. You've been deceived. I digress. Hive mind, one accord. The people is one, and they have all one language. So now there's another language, and it's being utilized through computer systems and technology that they're able to communicate one with another. They got earbuds that you can wear to other countries. So while people are speaking in their language, the interpretation is coming through in your ears through the earbuds of what they're saying in your language. There is no barrier anymore. And it says, look what the scripture said in verse 6, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. And this is how far they're going in society and the world today with technology. They figure there's nothing they can't do. They figure they can heal their bodies, they can heal themselves, they can prolong their life, they can live forever, and they can transfer their consciousness into a robot. Verse 7, this is the Most High talking. Go to let us, meaning the Most High's Son, his angels, his destroying angels. He said, go to let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So Yahuwah scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, which is why we have all the nations in different places, Russia, China, Africa, Korea, Japan, China. This is why it was a result of this. But first, pay attention to 6 and 7. Nobody pays attention. They just run through this. The Most High said, he sent the angels down, but he said, go to let us, meaning he incorporated himself, go down and there confound their language. So he penetrated the atmosphere. We are in the process, with the shortness of time, of the possible fact that he's here amongst us looking at this, and you're losing hope and faith. You're losing hope and faith like Daniel, the 10th chapter, and the 21 days that he waited for an answer. And the angels were fighting against the prince and powers of the air in that realm that were trying not to let the answer get through. And Michael, the archangel, had to come and assist the angels. There was a war going on to get Daniel the answer. And it took 21 days. A lot of us would have gave up on day 20. So the Most High's time is not like your time. One day is as 1,000 years, 1,000 years as one day. But we do see that these are the last days now, because truly prophecy's been fulfilled. It's been revealed who we are as a people and the things that we must do. But I want you to see this here. The Most High came down to see, after the flood, the unity and what was trying to be achieved, because the people felt that they were one and that we were moving into a golden age. Let's do it. And the Most High saw that they had the potential to do it through the unification of their mindsets and greed. Satan is a deceiver, and he has convinced man that he can achieve all of these things, and they believe it. And he's sitting back, rubbing his hands together, laughing, thinking he's going to thwart the Most High's plans. He's pushing them into their own destruction. But what I want you to see is when Yahuwah comes down, he didn't just send a representative. He said, let us go see. He said, I came to see. That's so powerful. You don't know what you're messing with, who you're messing with, or where he is, or where he might be, or how he might manifest. I could see him going to sit up in one of these hypocritical, money-snatching, religious, full of wolves, Greek, Roman philosophy churches that his people are sitting in on the wrong day of worship and just shaking his head. And you know when he comes down, things happen. So don't think a lot of these natural disasters are just them geoengineering and manipulating the weather, because he allows things to transpire and happen because judgment is coming upon the face of the earth. Judgment has to come because blood is crying out from the ground. People are sacrificing to Moloch their seeds. They'd rather live in hedonism and kill what is a result of their hedonism and just bypass it like it was just a night of pleasure with a plan B. There's so much that has been done in this earth and in Babylon that is calling for judgment. And this stood out to me this morning because I was like, if it's like that, then he's got to be here looking at how bad this is, so he can let our Messiah know it's time for you to go claim your throne and my people. And let's finish the book. It's time for you to go tabernacle amongst them. Sound the trumpet. We're almost there, brothers and sisters. We're about to get there. The only for sure obstacle to truth is to think that you already have it, because truth is a journey, not a destination. I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom and Kwam Yasha Allah, and hang in there. We're almost home.